Yeah, do you mind?
All right. Good morning, everybody. Good morning.
Morning.
So I'm gonna hold my down. First off, I want to thank Elizabeth Adams and Nicole Hodge for organizing today.
Yeah.
From our office. And you know, this is so exciting to see so many incoming council members.
Yeah.
Congratulations, everybody. It's really exciting to see all of you. And we're thrilled to be here this morning to stand up for small businesses in New York City and demand that we have a just recovery in our city's economy for the pandemic. This legislation, Elizabeth worked on, going back to about 2018 and 2019, prior to the pandemic, and working with great people like Paula, like Olympia, this wonderful group of advocates that we've been working with to get a really good piece of legislation. And we never anticipated in a million years that a year and a half later we'd be coming out of a worldwide pandemic with this bill still not moving and still yet to be heard in the New York City Council. And what this bill does is it's a pretty simple concept. It creates a rent regulation system for small businesses in New York City. A rent regulation system just like we have a rent stabilization system for housing 6 units or more. This would apply to small businesses, anything smaller than 10,000 square feet in New York City. And why are we doing this? Because all across New York City, and I know that all of the candidates that were running this year saw it in their neighborhood. Sandy, you saw it in your neighborhood. I'm sure, Crystal, you saw it in your neighborhood. Tiffany, you saw it in your neighborhood. Jen definitely saw it in your neighborhood. That you have these long-standing businesses, mom-and-pop businesses that have put their entire life savings into and have run it for years, the good times and the bad, only on their rent renewal to have their rent increased by 300% or 400%. You see it all over the place. Alexa, you see it too in your neighborhood. Right. And especially in the outer boroughs, in areas that are gentrifying. We see it time and time again. Restaurants, immigrant-owned businesses, only to see a Duane Reade come in, or a bank come in, or a Walgreens come in, or a Starbucks come in, because they can afford the $10,000 or $15,000 a month in rent. So what this bill would do, it'll do three things. I have it on my phone here. It'll do three things. It creates a commercial rent guidelines board, which will set annual rents and provide oversight and tenant protection, which was sorely needed during this pandemic. The rent guidelines board can set adjustment rates citywide with flexibility for neighborhoods as needed. It removes the negative incentive for landlords to evict small businesses in place of larger chains, because everybody will be equally covered. Right now, too many vacant storefronts are sitting there because properties are waiting for the highest bidder. We'd be removing the incentive to gentrify. This bill would help create standardized leases so that costly pass-alongs can't be snuck into leases, and tenants know their rights on how to fight back against unreasonable rent increases. Our current system provides no regulation or consistency for small businesses, and we have asked them to bear too much for too long. At a time of so much upheaval in this city, this bill would help provide some security and stability for our small businesses. It's time, if ever there was a time, to enact some far-reaching and ambitious legislation to protect small businesses. This is the time, and I believe this is the legislation. This is about having a just recovery in our city that benefits neighborhoods, small businesses in our neighborhood. With that, I want to thank everybody for being here, and I'm going to call up our first speaker, Christina Perry, from the Team Leader.
Yeah.
last week, we had over 500 patrons at our theater, fully vaccinated. You see our One Act Festival with fully vaccinated performers as well. So it's very exciting. It's an uplifting recovery, but we also know we have a very long road of recovery ahead of us. And that's why I'm here today. Our company is no stranger to the vicious nature of real estate in New York City. Our first space in Long Island City, we renovated and built just in time for Hurricane Sandy, to then have our landlord break our lease, reduce the place to rubble, and put up luxury condos. Now we're at the mercy of our landlord once again as we come out of this pandemic, and so I'm asking for your support on this really important bill. I don't have the support of lobbyists and lawyers. We can't afford that. So that's why I'm here speaking today as for your support in the worst crisis for small businesses. Our theater, the Chain Theater, is home to hundreds of artists and dozens of theater companies. They rely on our space for a place to do their work. These small businesses that need an affordable space like the Chain. I joked with my colleagues that we're kind of like an endangered species, and we are. And we're so crucial to the cultural ecosystem that makes up New York City. We're one of the lucky ones at the Chain Theater. We're still open. Champion Studios, Simple Studios, Avenue C Studios, all closed during the pandemic, and so many more are on the brink of closure as they just wait for the landlords to just come up with another excuse, raise the rent to get them out of their spaces, which will make affordable art spaces that much harder to come by. So commercial rent stabilization would keep venues from having to rebuild every time we're displaced. It'll help us grow with our futures because we'll know what our rent's going to be, so we can plan properly. I mean, our rent alone accounts for 60% of our yearly operating budget. So imagine what we could do if more of that could go into programming and community events. All we're asking is that you help to make it not so easy for landlords to displace and kick out local cultural institutions like us. If ever there was a time, now is it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Christina. Congratulations. Next, I want to call up a great advocate for small businesses, and we're in our own borough, Councilmember Kelly Rivera.
Yeah. Woo!
All right. How's everybody doing?
Woo! Yeah.
All right, good morning, good morning. I want to thank Councilmember Levin for carrying this bill so strongly. All the advocates who are here, our small business owners, and I am so proud to join that call today. This is a very, very important bill. We need commercial rent stabilization in New York City. It is as simple as that, and we cannot wait any longer. So it's no secret that we have both a residential and commercial rent problem in the 5 boroughs. It was that way pre-pandemic, and it's certainly been exacerbated with COVID-19, because even before COVID-19, the rent was too high, and it was climbing at unchecked rates, leaving so many of our small business owners scrambling to make ends meet. And so during the pandemic, we've seen far too many beloved small businesses and cultural institutions in my district and beyond close part due to rent. And some of these businesses we all really, really love and we're gonna miss. It is things like Gem Spa, Clover Deli, Rosario's Pizza, Khyber Pass, UCB, 88 Land Zoo, Porcena, Bedlam, Mission Chinese, and countless others with even more at risk. These places are personal to us. We've all had experiences there. But it is also what brings people from all over the world to visit New York City. Because of the experience and because of the love that we put into these businesses, that they become a part of our extended family. And so the call for increased protections for small businesses is not a new one. We've been advocating for this kind of legislation for a very long time. So back in May 2020, I did what I could. I passed a bill suspending personal liability provisions, which protected thousands of small businesses owners at risk of losing their personal assets and life savings if their businesses went under. We also made sure that we got the commercial lease assistance program restored, because that specifically, and thanks to Take Root Justice and many others, helps minority and women-owned businesses specifically businesses, maybe English is not their first language, but who we know are at the center of our most beloved cultural, like just our hubs in our communities that we need to remember why New York City is so great. So we can't extend that legislation now, and the governor's emergency order has expired, which is why it's more important than ever to pass this bill. So if not now, in the middle of a pandemic, then when? We need commercial rent stabilization. We need it now. Our city has had commercial rent regulations in the past. You've heard that history, and we deserve it again. Small businesses are what make our neighborhoods so special. That is why the people behind me are here, and that is why they ran for office, to make sure that we can protect our communities and keep them thriving. And we're not going to ensure a full and just COVID-19 recovery unless we ensure that those small businesses recover as well. It's as simple as that. That's why we have to pass this intro. We have to finally establish commercial rent stabilization rules that will ensure that the long-term stability of our small business community continues. I'm proud to sponsor the bill. I will continue to fight for it alongside my colleagues, and I want to thank you all. Let's get this done.
Woo!
Next, and we're so happy to have him here, Badr Fouad from the Yemeni American Merchants Association, otherwise known as YAMA.
Yeah. Woo!
Hi everyone, happy to be here. We're very excited to organize and continue supporting small businesses along with everyone here. Thank you so much for your attention. My name is Badr Fouad and I'm the Director of Merchant Services at the Yemeni American Merchants Association. YAMA was founded in 2017 after a bodega strike that happened because of the Muslim ban. So we represent 6,000 bodegas across the city, whom are owned by Yemeni American merchants. Those bodegas, like I said, are across the 5 boroughs, so we understand their struggles throughout every borough, whether it's from financial crisis, whether it's from loans and grants not being provided to them because they can't afford to get payroll systems or other operating aspects to help document their income on day-by-day aspects. Because like we know, all small businesses and mom and pop shops operate their finances through pen and paper. So many of the grants and loans were not available to these small businesses. The system has failed those small businesses once, and let's not do it again. By helping them with providing this rent stabilization program will help them recover financially. They have been going through a lot throughout the pandemic. They were open throughout the pandemic when bigger operations were closing, when bigger companies were closing. They were there for their communities. They were there in every corner providing the service for each community. They also provide a sense of mental support. They provide a sense of financial support to every community member, because if you go to a bodega, they will never let you down. They will never turn you away because you're going through anything. So let's stand up for them. Let's make sure. Thank you. So let's stand up for them. Let's make sure we support them, and let's make sure the fight is not over, because the pandemic is not over, and they're still struggling. They're still going through a lot. So thank you so much for supporting small businesses. Thank you so much for working on this bill. Let's continue.